All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and start the advisory board meeting for what month is this? What's this? November? November, okay. I know I've missed a few meetings. You have a new member since the last time? Oh, I hear it. I hear that. And there's a nasty rumor going around that the meeting's always longer when I'm here. But I assure you, Kristen, since I'm here today, was just adding things to the agenda. I'm sitting over here. So it's not me. Everybody thinks it's me, but it's not. So
we'll see.
So we'll go ahead.
And I don't think it's a rumor. I think
Oh, thanks a lot, Gary. Thanks for having my back. I appreciate it. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Roll call of the advisory board members. Deb Roby.
Here.
Ed Rolls. He's out to see. Kelly Scott.
Here.
Carl Foyne.
Here.
April Edwards.
Here.
Beth Alden. Beth.
Here.
And Linda Fugate. Linda's out. So, all right, we will start with our next agenda item, which is review and approval of the last meeting minutes.
Good afternoon. We have the in your packets in front of you the minutes from the October 11, 2016 meeting. The meeting was called to order at 1:05 p.m. Advisory board members that were present are listed, as well as other DHSMB members and guests. We introduced Kelly Scott as the newest member of the advisory board, who is filling a role that was previously occupied by Stephen Fielder. We reviewed the minutes from September 13th. You all approved those unanimously. We gave a brief stakeholder outreach update, indicating the outreach that Mr. Samuel and some of the team members were doing on the same day, which he'll give you an update about a little bit later. We brought up the FHP investigation workshop. We'll also give you an update on that today. And then we let you know about an upcoming Bureau of Dealer Services conference in which the Motorist Modernization team will be participating. As well, we discussed the LDO training survey that they distributed in September. Anat is here and will give us an update on that as well. On page 2, we did not have any policy and decisions review items for the advisory board. We provided an update of the spend plan, Janice specifically. We had some change requests that were reviewed. Those are discussed on page 2, as well carrying over to page 3. Project managers gave a project update. Joe Weldon on behalf of DO Issuance, Scott Tomaszewski on behalf of Motorist Maintenance and FR. Sonia Nelson was the new project manager at the time, providing an update on renewal notifications, SID list, and citation processing. And then on page 4, Andrea providing an update on behalf of the MyDMV portal team. Last but not least, Mr. Gary Didio, our IBV representative, discussed future evaluations that Ernst & Young will be conducting as they receive some program deliverables that are slated. The meeting was adjourned at 1:27 p.m. and today's meeting date as the next meeting is listed. Finally, on page 5, the handouts are listed that were included as a part of the meeting. Are there any corrections to the October 11, 2016 meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes. Motion to approve.
Great, thank you, Deb. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Beth, I assume you approve?
Yes, I'm sorry. My mute was on. I'm being good.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll mark these as approved.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Now we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the IBMV update, and Gary's on the phone to present that to the board.
So the IBMV report is basically identical to last month. One of the next slides, please. So everything's still green. We're still showing, a little bit behind schedule, but still within the prescribed tolerance bands. So there's no real real issues from our perspective. There is something that came up this morning, and we'll probably have to talk about this offline, and it had to do with the outage this past weekend. So,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah, I'd rather talk about it offline. So, from our perspective, everything's green. I know Kristen and Aline are working on some of the additional facets, and hopefully we'll have that completed this month, and it'll be in next month's report. So, any questions?
We have shaking heads in the room.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
Gary.
thank you. Next on the agenda is stakeholder outreach update, and I'll let Jessica go last with her one update from FHP meeting, but a couple items. During the last meeting, I was not here. We were on the road visiting tax collectors. As you know, we're working on Motorist Modernization Phase 1, which has everything to do with driver's license, including a portal, redesigning our database, and some DL support systems as well. But really, this is really the second phase, because the first part of the program, we, of course, redesigned our capture application and also the electronic filing system application, EFS. So those projects are winding down now. I think we have all of the capture installs done, with the exception of maybe 2 in South Florida and here in headquarters. And of course, the service providers that provide the service via EFS to all of the dealerships are coming on board with EFS. So we have been going out trying to meet with folks in the tax collector offices to find out, okay, how do we do? How was the process? And so far, I will say that in every office that we have gone to, mainly talking to them about capture, because there were a couple of folks that were a little delayed in coming on board with the EFS system, but we have mainly talked to them about capture, and so far they all love the functionality of the system, love what we have done in the process of going out and listening to them, and the workshops that we've conducted. They all thought that was a great process. But as you know, Gary alluded to, we have had some system downtime recently, so that always comes up in the conversation. It's something that we always address and what we're doing and who we're working with, other agencies, working with AST to ensure that the systems are stabilized. So that is something that always comes up, but I am also encouraged by the fact that as far as the applications that have been provided and the functionality, they do think that the whole process worked and had good things to say about what we have done so far. And the last meeting I had, as I mentioned, was with Manatee County and met with the tax collector there and their staff. And what we try to do is bring them in. We meet with the IT staff. We meet with the people who actually use the system, and then we go out and we observe them using the system to see if we can determine if they're using the system correctly, if we can give them any pointers. Second item that I have is, I believe last week we also met with the Bureau of Dealer Services, and they were having a training here in Tallahassee, so they're more, of course, concerned with motor vehicles. But we gave them an overview of our process. We talked to them about what we were planning to do for driver's license. There was a lot of interest, as always, in the portal and the functionality that we were adding via the web portal. And we wanted them to go ahead and start thinking about things that they had envisioned in their ideas and start submitting those for motor vehicles. And they were seemed to be pretty excited about that. And we kind of outlined the process that we use, and they all thought, the way we go about it is a good thing. So we'll probably keep that as we move into motor vehicles and start asking or requesting funding for motor vehicles. We'll keep that same process. Jessica, you want to give an update on your meeting with FHP investigation?
Sure. So we met with FHP 2 months ago in September. It was with the investigations group, And pretty much we just gave them an overview of the system enhancements and different things that are going to assist them in their investigations, as well as preventing fraud and some reporting capabilities that will be given to the field so that office managers can catch some of those fraud things early on before they, have too many people or workers doing these things. So that's pretty much what it was about, and they were happy with the updates and the enhancements, and had a lot of questions about phase 2, which we said we would meet again with them so that we can discuss those as well.
Any questions for me or Jessica on the updates? Okay. Next agenda item, well, you don't have it on your agenda, is one of the things that Kristen reminded me of that wasn't here, is that as we roll out this system, this is going to be a massive effort with training. So it's something that we've already started preparing for, and of course working with Anat, who's the chief of our Learning Development Office. We've already started working with our staff, and Kristen meets with them on a regular basis to hear any concerns they have, and they have already started reaching out, of course, to the tax collectors to talk to them about gathering data that they need to provide training to them as we move forward. So Anata's here. She put together a survey that went out to all the tax collectors. They had a certain period of time to complete the survey and send it back, so she's here to present the results of that training survey to you all. So,
Where's the best strategic place that I can project my voice?
you can have my seat.
Stand at
Oh,
the terrace spot. Okay, you're gonna stand right there.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the main objective of the survey was to collect information and training preferences from the tax collectors to help us make decisions relating to training. We're using the results in our training plans, and Office of Motorist Modernization may use the results as well with their change management efforts. Okay? So the survey was open for a period of 3 weeks. It was sent to all tax collector counties and offices. We had 132 total responses that we collected, encompassing 128 offices from 56 counties, representing 56 counties. The top counties that responded were Duval, Collier, Polk, and Okaloosa. And we had 7 counties that did not respond, and you'll see that coming up again in the latter part of the presentation. As far as training needs, according to the survey, we have roughly 3,185 tax collector employees that will need some kind of training. In offices in Duval, Gilchrist, Leon, Pasco, and Seminole could not estimate training needs and will require more information. So, of course, LDO, as part of our next steps, will reach out to them. Respondents were asked a few questions regarding trainer availability, and this was to help us with planning any logistics. 99 offices, 77% had dedicated trainers in their offices, which will help us tremendously with this training effort. 30 of the offices did not. 8 offices without trainers, so of those 30, 8 offices without trainers attended training elsewhere in the county, so still are exposed to training. And 10 of those attended training in neighboring counties. Okay. Preferred training methods. So again, this is to help us make determinations, decisions regarding what method of training development we're going to use for development and deployment. Most of the offices prefer to have some instructor-led training with or without additional electronic supplements. So most of them predominantly requested a face-to-face. So as you can see, instructor-led classes, we have 43% representing, instructor-led and online 21%, and online training 17%. As far as training availability, so we wanted to see, we wanted to get information from the tax collectors regarding their preference as far as timing. And you can see how most feel very strongly about not having training during the months, the holiday season. By far, most preferred to have training during the second and, during the third and fourth week of the month. Okay. I'm sorry, the second and the third. Sorry about that. So specifically with the instructor-led strategy, 72% of the offices, their office trainers, they requested that their office trainers be trained by SMB. So those who have trainers on site, they would like for them to be trained. So it's a train-the-trainer type of method, which will help us tremendously with logistics. We'll be able to use our trainers, focused on train-the-trainer, and then we'll have some that will be going into the specific offices for training. Some indicated that they don't want any instructor-led classes, and that was, we looked into that, and that was really representing the smaller counties that could not get their employees off the desk and away from the customer. So our method there, of course, will rely on some job aids and electronic, and possibly getting our trainers to just sit by them and train them almost like on the job as they are sitting by the counter. And 21% responded with all system users to be trained directly by the HSMV, so those 21% are representing our trainers going out to those offices, training them. Okay? So as far as computer lab access, and this was important specifically for online training, we wanted to gain a good understanding of who has access to a training lab, who has access to a computer that could be used for training, because that's not, the fact that you have a computer is not always the case for utilizing it with training. So overall, we had 61 offices stating that they have access to a training lab, which is great, and 61 offices did not. So, of course, like I said, this will impact the training decisions and what we offer in our logistics. We had one open-ended question in the survey, and we asked for the respondents to provide us with some best practices regarding to training and how we can deploy training while helping them still to keep operational coverage. So 28 respondents indicated that they would prefer that we train smaller groups. And we also see this with other training that we provide, like driver license examiner training. We have the same request, so we're very familiar with that. 22 of the respondents indicated that they wanted more hands-on and a sandbox of some sort to play with. 19 of the respondents reflected a need for training to be planned ahead, of course, and occur as close to date as the deployment of the system. Again, that's a training best practice. The closer we can get to the deployment of the system, the better. So just to wrap it up, as a conclusion, we had 10 counties without access to designated training staff that we will focus on in providing them a training solution. Computer labs, of course, will also be a part of our decision making as far as the training method, instructor-led versus online. Training should be primarily instructor-led with the exceptions that we talked about, depending on the constraints of the office. LDO will continue to work with each county to ensure training needs are met, and also reach out to those counties that needed a little bit more information regarding training so they can make better decisions and provide us with the information that we need so we in turn can make the decisions that we need. The next steps, LDO is currently putting together the training plan for the MV renewal notification. So we're incorporating some of these results into the training plan, and we'll share that with the Office of Motorist Modernization. The training plan is due the end of December, and if there's any questions, if there are. Thank you, guys.
All right, next agenda item is the policy decisions review.
Oh, yeah, I can do that one.
All right, so we're gonna start with portal at the top.
Portal, the portal item 06 was about, really, when we were doing the issuance online, was us getting access to the Department of Defense's, web service so that we can verify whether a military out of state, was still eligible for a convenience renewal. That particular decision was, is not gonna happen, so not by us interfacing with one of their web services. Currently, right now, they can go in onto their website and do an inquiry, so we're gonna have to revamp how we were gonna do it on portal, which is probably, we're gonna allow the customer to probably come onto the portal and request for a verification, and then once we get the verification, then we'll email them and tell them that they've been verified and they can come back online and do the issuance. So we're just gonna have to remap the way we address it, so we won't, because we won't be able to interface with them, so.
The next item is about, it's one of DL26, which is about purchasing hardware to scan checks for the state offices. Currently, we're still doing some research on that. There's a stats request right now to find out how many checks we have received in the past 3 fiscal years from our state offices, which is one of the questions that Bank of America came back with in order to give us a pricing for hardware and services. That's the status of that one.
Wells Fargo is our current vendor.
Wells Fargo is doing some things for us, but it's not.
It's not the cash rate.
Right.
I'm just reading through to make sure.
Jessica, on that, are we also looking at the trending, the trending for checks?
Yes.
Okay.
So for renewal notifications, we've executed a change request to change the process, the way that renewals are handled, so that they won't be handled anymore in the headquarters, but we'll be handling those through the county offices, tax collector offices, and so you'll see that change request there.
Yeah, and I think basically all the renewal ones up here are basically tied to us working with the tax collectors on some changes they wanted to the process. Originally, I think we were, going to send out renewal notices, but now the decision's been made that we're not. We're just going to send out more or less alerts or reminders to customers. So all the renewal ones they're all tied to. There's some other changes that the tax collectors wanted as well. On the notification that we're going to send out, they wanted to know if they could have like a URL for their renewal notice, which we have agreed to. Also, I think there's a certain type of plate that we automatically, I think it's like the sunshine plate, and some that want the county name, so we added some choices that you could have there. I may have hit that backwards, but we're gonna give you choices of the plate that you can order. I think it's like 3 different choices for that you can have for the renewal. So all of those changes are changes that we worked out with the tax collectors, all the change requests or that we processed related to those things that after discussing the renewal notification system with them, some changes that they requested. So you can go down to where it is after renewal. Just last one. All right. Okay. Now for a financial update, Jen? Sure.
This is the spend plan for October. Last month, we were underspent by $69. This month, we're overspent by $152, so it's going to jump around a little bit because of the contracted services. All the invoices for Accenture were paid. The budget amendment, I don't know if I told you last month, but the budget amendment, the first one was accepted by downtown, so we received those funds. We'll be submitting our second budget amendment in December, so we'll receive those funds in January. So we have enough funding right now for phase 1 through the end of, I guess, into January. So for all the deliverables through the end of December. So we're in good shape.
Questions? Okay. Change request, Kristen?
This is a change request. All right, we'll first start with the low-level change requests. These are on the green spreadsheet in front of you. These are items, if you recall, that are within the product owner's authority to review. So we will start first with our DO issuance.
Sure. So the first one there, the PMCR 53, is for DL issuance. And this was a misrequirement where we hadn't outlined very well how to deal with previous names on search. So if I searched on my name and I changed my name, we want to pull back those results. And it was confusing to the user that we were showing the current name and not the name I searched on. So in the search results, we will show the name you searched on, but when you select the record, we'll show the current name. We're also having an issue with the way we define the merge records and the way those are displayed, so we corrected that as well in the rules. Now let's skip to the last, I think it's last 5 on your list, are DL issuance as well. And those are all archive stories, so we made a little change in the way we're going to handle stories in the archive we feel we don't need. We're going to create a change request to account for what happened with those stories and explain. These 5 are all duplicative, so the story was covered by another story. So the rules were already in another story, and both developers and testers felt during sprint planning that we didn't need these stories, because we already covered both the rules as well as the technical criteria in stories. So we are covered. Scott?
Thanks, Joe. So PMCR 55 and 56 are archive stories as well. The first one, PMCR 55, was a story under the authorization work that we identified was duplicate. Work was planned for the change story. So instead of trying to do half the work there and then pick it up in the change story, we wanted to retire that story and make sure we just did it when we addressed it with the change story that was approved later on in the development cycle. PMCR 56, this one during sprint planning, good thing that our product owners, subject matter experts identified this. We had a way that the end user navigates to the top menu to get to this screen, and then this actual one that we're retiring was a quick link that was created sometime previous before we picked it up for planning, and it went nowhere. So it was kind of hopeful, wishful thinking to actually go and navigate to another screen, but to save the end user's time, the top menu user navigate to the actual screen, we actually went ahead and retired that one. So this way there's no confusion. So this is actually retiring a feature that when you clicked on that hyperlink, didn't go to the original page, and the subject matter experts and the end user said they didn't need it anymore. So we archived it. Any questions on that? back to Kristen.
Alright, and so next we have three, level 3 change requests. Although these are level 3 per our decision escalation matrix, these are within the, program director's authority to sign. So Terrence, is the decision-making authority on these items. We would like to review these today and get your recommendation to either accept or reject these change requests. They are all associated with the renewal notification team. As we mentioned, they're items stemming from the tax collector focus group that we had earlier in the year. So Sonia, you want to hit us with
Yes.
a review of these?
So the first one, number 38, the tax collectors wanted to combine the out-of-state email notification and the in-state. We had groomed or planned to send two different emails depending on where the person was. So they recommended that we combine it, just send one email, but include certain custom features on that email template. And you can see that they want us to include the county URL, the expected time frame for the actual renewal, and these things that came from the in-state. They want them all included on the new template. We already have stories and blueprint for this change request, so we're not actually creating new stories. We're modifying existing stories. So that's why you don't see a number of hours that have been added, because basically we're just modifying existing stories. We're not creating new stories. That's number 38.
Are there any questions on change request number 38?
Number 39.
Just to say, let me get a recommendation from.
All right.
All right, so what's your pleasure? Is there a motion to approve, recommend approval of this change request?
Recommend approval. Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Beth.
Second.
All right, time for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. I will mark your recommendation to approve. All right, next.
Number 39. This is also from the tax collectors group. They want a notification sent to the office when the renewal file is picked up by the vendor. Right now, they're notified when the file is ready, but they're not notified when the file is picked up. So they're going to be able to track that information as well. There's an estimate for hours, the impact to the schedule. It's a total of 36 hours that we're estimating for this change request. Just a reminder though that as we add more hours, some things that we've already groomed and have approved in the backlog might be impacted. We might end up having to remove some other things from the backlog. That's just a reminder. This is 36 hours.
Any questions about change request number 39?
Was this a request from one individual or the group as a whole, or?
This was a request from the group as a whole as a result of the initial, we had several focus group meetings, then we had a meeting with their leadership. We came to to what we thought was an agreement with their leadership. We provided them the information that we thought that we heard they communicated to us prior to the conference. After the conference, we heard back from their leadership that they all had agreed to that we could move forward with these changes, and they have been reviewed by our executive leadership and the ESC as well.
Any other questions? All right, at this time, I'd like to call for a motion to recommend approval of this change request. Is there one? Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Awesome. I will mark this as the advisory board recommends for approval.
And the last one, number 40, the tax collectors request that we send an email alert or notification to the office when the MOU for a vendor is about to expire. In fact, they want 4 different email notifications, 180 days out, 90 days out, 60 days out, and 30 days out. They want high alerts on 60 and 30 days out. So they'll be able to do proper planning in case the memorandum is not renewed. We've also taken a look at an estimate of how many hours it would take to complete this change request. From testers and development, 64 hours for this change request.
Any questions?
I have a question. What sort of MOUs are these?
The vendors that, we send the renewal data to vendors that, of course, process the renewal notifications or renewal notices on behalf of the tax collectors, but they have to have a MOU with the department to approve and give them the data.
Right.
And so, other than that, I'm not sure.
Okay, that helps.
Okay, yeah, and so, occasionally they change, or when they get notifications, I think there was some concern that we were working or notifying the vendor, but the tax collectors want to be notified as well, like you said, in case they needed to maybe choose another vendor, or if they could get on the vendor themselves and say, hey, you haven't, gotten this MOU, you've got my renewal data, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. That helps. Thank you.
Do we currently send a series of 4 notifications to the vendors as well, or is this a time frame that we send to the vendors?
No, I don't think there's a series of 4 that we sent to the vendors. This came, like I said, as a result of one of the focus groups with their leadership of some changes that they wanted to have to move forward. But I don't think there's 4 that we send. They just wanted, they came with this time frame to be notified in this manner, and thought that the ones at 60 and 30 days should be high alert for them, so they could be notified, and so they could work with the vendor to see what the issue was.
Would we want to sync up the vendor notification to match if this goes forward, and that way they're both getting the same thing?
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, that hasn't, I don't know if that's been discussed. I'll have to check with Judy, but I can certainly find out and get back with you and let you know. And it may happen. I just need to verify.
So hearing that recommendation, what's the pleasure? Do you want to proceed with this change request as is, or would you like for us to go back and incorporate whatever the decision is regarding the vendor alerts?
Yeah, I'm just thinking programming wise, is it easier to just do both the same way?
And like I said, it may be,
Yeah.
but I just need to verify with her if we have the same kind of alert going to the vendors. I believe so, but I need to verify that.
Any other questions? All right, what's your pleasure? Is there a motion to recommend approval of this change request? Not everybody wants.
Yeah, motion to approve.
Is there a second? Thanks, Carl. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Any opposed? All right, thank you very much.
Okay, that's all of the change requests. Next, last agenda item for Q&A would be project updates. So we'll have Joe Weldon with Accenture Deal Issuance go first.
Sure, so for deal issuance, we completed our HIP sprint, the milestone A, last week. As a reminder, HIP sprint is where we work on correcting all the bugs that were found in the other sprints and hardening the application, getting it ready. If we were able to do the deployment or wanted to do deployment, we could deploy that functionality and it would, all the code would work. So for this milestone, as a reminder also, the goal of the milestone was to be able to inquire on a customer, select an existing customer, go to the initial customer inquiry screens, customer summary screens, and then start a original ID transaction. then go out to the transaction queue and resume that transaction. We're able to successfully demonstrate all that functionality. We're able to close out 36 stores from our backlog during that sprint. And we began Milestone B sprint 5 last week as well. And for Milestone B, the focus is to work on our AMBA calls. So it's all of the calls to AMBA and then the screens to display the results of these calls being selected a customer. As far as risk, we have no specific risk report for deal issuance risk period. Issues, we're still working through staffing, so we're short currently 2 developers for the deal issuance team. Continue to make progress. Obviously, we were able to get more work done than the original plan, so it hasn't been a hindrance. But we still want the 2 developers. Change requests. So I think we had spoke to you last time about CR30, which was motor voter party affiliations, signature pad changes, and this is the 3rd iteration of that. So that CR was actually rejected by the ESC, and not rejected, but they told us to go back to make some additional changes. And what they're looking for specifically is they want us to include, go back to legal and include language for a customer even before they choose the type of application to say, do I even want to participate, opt in, opt out of motor voter. So we tweak that a little bit more, come up with the language for that screen that we had and take that back. So the goal is to try to get that circled back in the next week or so because we want to get open and motor voter here in one of our future sprints. Unless there's no questions, it's it for the elections.
Okay. Simon?
Renewal notification? Okay, so
Or all of yours?
all of them? Okay. So for renewal notification, we are working, or we just finished up sprint 5, we're working on sprint 6. We don't have any new risks or no new issues. And the change requests, we just went over and reviewed a few minutes ago. There were 3 change requests, 38 through 40. For SIDLIS citation processing, the same. We're working on sprint 6. Our milestone A is January 10th. And so we've got 29 stores committed there. And no issues and no risks.
Thank you, Terrence.
Scott?
Update for Motorist Maintenance. Motorist Maintenance completed all authorization features targeted for Milestone Group A on 11/3/2016. That's 91 stores in total. Milestone Group B, Data Tear Sprint 5. Planning was conducted on November 3rd, 2015, and will go through February 2017, roughly. The 2 areas of focusing for data tear are the removing business logic that was put in the data layer and bring it back up to the application layer so we can not have the database doing business logic decisions. So this way we can improve the performance and hopefully stabilize the database. That's one of the goals for our data tier. And also is to move the entire motorist maintenance application to the new database. As the structure's changed, so now we need to make sure that we accommodate the new structure. Risk and issues and change requests. Risk, there was 2 new risks registered during that current period. The first one was identified and resolved. Is related to the potential increase in bugs that were impacting Milestone Group A authorization features, and having enough time for the available developer resources to resolve them in time to complete Milestone A. As we completed it, we closed it. Second item was involved timely updates in the database schema to accommodate Milestone B data tier development. To mitigate this risk, the developers are in constant communication with the enterprise technical team to make sure that we don't just pick up a story that the database is not ready to accommodate our changes. Issues, no new project issues identified for this current period. Change requests, no change requests impacting the schedule or scope were identified for the current reporting period. You heard some archive stories earlier to clean up the schedule. Any questions for motorist maintenance before we? And then, of course, financial responsibility, which is part of the project that starts roughly in January 2017, right behind the work for motorist maintenance that we're doing for the data tier. Okay. So, back to you, Terrence.
Any questions? Oh. I'm sorry, Andrea?
Don't worry.
No, I'm sorry.
Sit on the safe side. That's time.
My DMV portal update, we are in script 5, which ended on Tuesday, November the 1st. We have 43 stores slated for milestone A, sprint 5, which ended, and those are address verification, dashboard, customer alerts, emergency contact inside and out, and DO check, as well as some technical debt. We did a demo and retrospective was held on November the 1st. And now we're currently in our HIP sprint, which is our testing sprint. And we have 34 stores that we're testing. 9, like we said, have been completed and tested and approved. We have 35 other stores that we're currently testing. We have 24 open bugs. The 2 risks that we reported during milestone A is we have a special developer, which is called a sales. He's working on our interfacing with Salesforce, which is our authentication process. And he's going to end his time with us is going to end in November. So we're having to do knowledge transfer with one of our developers in-house. And so that's a risk if that knowledge doesn't get transferred, which I think is going to take place, which is happening. We have risk if the testing continue to be delayed and the progress was going very slow with the testing. It was going to possibly impact our schedule. Hopefully we'll see as a result of this HIP sprint that we've kind of gotten caught up, and we brought the QAs in to help assist and add an additional testers to the team to try to catch up.
ISA QA.
ISA QA, that is, I'm sorry. So yes, we've added additional testers from SEU as well as added the QA resources to try to speed up the testing.
And I will say this about the testing. We've been working very closely with Barb and Julie, and I think Barb's done a great job since she's come on board. There were some technical delays that impacted testing in the very beginning, so we worked through all of those, and now they're trying to make sure they get caught up, and Barb is very committed to that and has been. They have to test on different devices. They've been ordering phones, they ordered the tablets, all of that to make sure the portal renders correctly on whatever device that we have, so they're working through all of that. And they've really been, trying to get to where all the teams work on, all the teams, and obviously with 2 of them made it through everything that we anticipated on with milestone A, and with DL actually working a little bit past milestone A for things. So hopefully we can keep this going and continue to show good progress. And I think there's some healthy competition going on between the teams. I don't know if you look at them when they're doing it. I'm glad the camera's back here, but, so they see that face. But anyway, I think that's great. And but as I would say, we're not finished until everybody's finished. So one last thing is for staffing updates. We had a vacancy with our communications consultant who resigned, and also the program manager. So we have submitted a name for our program manager, and that person starts, that's been approved. She starts on the 21st. And then we have submitted someone to fill the communications consultant position as well. And we're waiting for that to work through the process. So hopefully we'll be back fully staffed and ready to move forward again. So with those new team members. So any questions? All right. Thank you all. We'll adjourn.